So I have to tell you, ABC News reporter Pierre Thomas was trying to share some little known facts about the second assassination attempt against then candidate Trump. And I feel like they glossed over a couple of salient data points which connect to a recent study that just went on. So let's first watch this clip.
Tonight, months after his dramatic arrest, federal prosecutors releasing disturbing new details, which they claim show Ryan Ruth's apparent obsession with assassinating President Trump. Before he allegedly stalked Trump on his Florida golf course, prosecutors say Ruth, a fierce supporter of Ukraine who had visited the war-torn country multiple times, reached out to an associate there. His request: send me an RPG, rocket-propelled grenade, or Stinger surface-to-air missile. Prosecutors claim Ruth desperately wanted to blow up then-candidate Trump's plane, writing, "I need equipment so that Trump cannot get elected."
Take a look at what happened.
The second assassination attempt coming just 2 months after Trump was nearly killed in Pennsylvania. Authorities in Florida say Ruth waited for 12 hours in a sniper's nest just off Trump's golf course. A Secret Service agent positioned one hole ahead of the president, spotting the barrel of an assault rifle in the bushes, engaging the suspect before he could take a shot at Trump. And now the FBI says Ruth could have had an even more powerful weapon after he first tried to buy a .50 caliber rifle capable of piercing body armor and slicing through car doors. Ruth has pleaded not guilty, but the FBI says they have footage of him conducting surveillance and placing him at the scene just before the alleged attempt.
So what they're not talking about in this, and of course, it's an update. They can do whatever they want, but I'm here to point out the things that they don't point out, the things that are actually really important to this story. There's more to it. This is a after effect. Dylan Roof and this guy, these people are going after President Trump and trying to kill him because of rhetoric that Democrats have promulgated for 10 years now against then candidate, then president, then candidate, now President Trump. They call him Hitler. They say that he's an existential threat to democracy. And now we're beginning to see the fruits of that. I want you to take a look at this data. Now, this is interesting because it's a study from NCRI. They assessed the violent zeitgeist with original survey data and open source intelligence analysis to determine how normalized and justified violence against the administration has become in public discourse. The findings signal a threat to political stability and public safety. The troubling numbers: murder justification, 31 and 38% of respondents stated it would be at least somewhat justified to murder Elon Musk and President Trump, respectively. These effects were largely driven by respondents that self-identified as left of center, with 48% and 55% at least somewhat justifying murder for Elon Musk and President Trump, respectively, indicating significantly higher justification for violence against these two particular figures. Property destruction was also justified. Nearly 40% of respondents stated it is at least somewhat acceptable or more to destroy a Tesla dealership in a protest. And then there are psychological and ideological correlations with assassination culture, where these beliefs are highly correlated with one another, as well as the justification of the murder of the United Healthcare CEO and a hyper-partisan left-wing ideology. This suggests that support for violence is part of a broader assassination culture, underpinned by psychological and ideological factors. So what are we really saying here, right? The thing that we're saying here is the left feels justified in killing people. If you look at the trends after the United Healthcare CEO was murdered in cold blood, you see that people actually took to twist what happened into kind of a glorification of Luigi Mangione. He was cute. He was sexy. I'd like to date him. Can I have his babies? Nothing about the fact that he'd killed someone in cold blood, a person he had no connection to, who had never harmed him directly or indirectly in any fashion. They justified that. And when that happens, it goes into the psyche and it actually moves you along a spectrum where you can justify other violent acts, because once you accept violence as a natural reaction to things you don't like politically, it goes from violence in reaction to violence against oneself or others, i.e. self-defense, to a psychological bastardization of what is normal. It is not normal to kill people that you disagree with politically. Not in this country, not in America. I hope that we can take this study and truly begin to examine the psychosis that has become evident with certain Americans who ascribe to a left-leaning political ideology.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.